So today I want to go a little bit personal. I want to share with you a personal journey that really blew my mind. After 5 years, I've decided to redo my brand profile. And can I just tell you that it is amazing to see the change? And this is what I want to talk to you about today. So for those of you that don't know me or that don't know my story, well, where everything started for me with the neuro coaching is in 2019, my husband left me. I didn't see it coming. We weren't fighting. We weren't sleeping in separate bedrooms. He literally just came up to me the one day and he said he wanted a separation. And I said to him, well, I don't know what a separation is. I am all or nothing. And so I was devastated at the time because it really came as a shock to me. I met him when I was 16 years old. We were together for 23 years, and I never worked with money before in my life. I didn't have any formal education. I had a nice to have party business called Candle Avenue. I still have it, so you can go check that out. We do mobile parties at the moment. But I had this Mickey Mouse party business that I needed to change into a Disney World to stand on my own 2 feet. COVID happened after that, so I was in solid survival mode for 3 years. So let me show you what my brain profile looked like in 2020. So as you can see here, the two bottom quadrants, the L1 and the R2, are pretty heavy, right? So it's a high preference that I had at that stage. So what the L2 meant was that at that stage, I was in complete survival mode. In other words, I needed to control my environment. I needed to control everything that I do. So I used to say, and these were my words that came out of my mouth, I used to say that I am going to die if I don't have a plan. That is how frantic I was. That is how much I needed to control my environment and my planning because I needed to get somewhere, right? Obviously, from a survival mode, is otherwise I'm not going to make it. That is the thought pattern that I had at that stage. So, how can you see that I was in survival mode? Well, if you look at the top of the R1 part, at that quadrant, can you see how small it is? In other words, there was no room for possibility or excitement or future orientated. It was all about the L2 being in that survival mode, being in that controlling mode. It's really sad to see. And at that stage, I was so desperate. And then when you look at the R2, which is also a very high preference at that stage, is I was very reliant on people at that stage. I was reliant on people guiding me, people giving me advice, people helping me to get to where I needed to be. I was very reliant on support from my friends, especially going through the divorce. So that is why my preference for people, the R2 quadrant, was so high at that stage. So again, here I was desperate for help, to get advice, to get guidance, saying yes to things easily. And it was hard for me to say no to people at that stage as well. And just being really dependent on people. And now it is a total different picture. So I actually, after dinner one Sunday evening, it was now recently, I just decided, oh, you know what, let me just do my brain profile again, just to see, what has changed, what didn't change. And oh my word, it really is amazing to see. And it was such a surprise. And you know what, the first thought that I had was gratitude. I felt immense gratitude for the opportunity that my divorce actually gave me to enable me to grow the way that I did. It was such a surprise to see. It actually blew me away. It really blew me away. Because believe me when I tell you, in the darkest moments, in those days that I went through so much heartache, so much hurt, I honestly thought that I would never get out of it. And you can see it clearly where I was in my L2 quadrant. But here it is. This is my brain at the moment, and you can't miss it, right? You can see it. It's much more balanced. And you know what this feels like on a daily basis? This is where I am excited about my life. This is where everything is a possibility. I can now start something new without having to overthink it all the time, without having to try and control my environment or my choices all the time. And with all of this change that I have experienced over these past few years, I didn't just grow personally, but I also grew spiritually. And that is a lesson that I learned from God. And that is that if if I walk up to a door and this door does not open for me, I can easily walk away and I can go and try the next door. Whereas in the past, um, in 2020, I used to force the door open. I used to knock on the door. I used to scream at the door because this door needs to open for me. That is that word. I need to get somewhere. I need to create a life for myself. I need to work harder. And that is where that control comes in. That is where you are surviving. You are not living. That is the big, big difference here. And that is where God actually needed to bring me to my knees. Because at that stage, what God was showing me is He brought the science together with spirituality. And that is where I made the connection. That is where I started with my But God journal, because that is the journey that God took me on. And that was part of my growth, but part of my spiritual growth as well. And that is also where my self-help to clarity program comes from, because that is where I make the connection, like I've just said, between spirituality and science. How does that come together? And this is such a unique program that I have developed, and it is about the journey that I've walked myself. Because you cannot separate the mind from the body and the soul, because it is one thing. Because, you know, we all think that we are here to make money, to build a business, to get children, to raise them, to go on holiday. That is not what life is about. There is a calling on your life. There is a bigger picture for your life. Outside of being a mom, outside of being a dad, outside of being the CEO of a company, there is something more to life. Because He created a life that is happening for you. So how is this life happening for you? It is showing you a frustration from this side. It's showing you another frustration from this side. And it is the same frustration. And why? Because it wants to show you where you are not free. God is preparing us. He is shaping us. With all of the trials that we are sitting with all of the struggles that we are sitting with, He is preparing us for something bigger. And what is happening in your life is when you get these trials, it is a redirection for you to where you need to be. So with that, we have a responsibility to ask God, why is this happening to me? What is the lesson that I need to learn? And through this trial, through this tribulation that you are going through, there is a responsibility that we need to take. What is the lesson here that I need to learn? What can I take from this that is happening to me? And the way that I can help you through this frustration that you're sitting with, through this feeling that I am stuck, through this feeling that I don't know where to go from here, I can help you to get to clarity with this self-help to clarity program. So this program is not lighthearted. It's not a lighthearted Christian program where I'm going to throw a whole lot of Bible verses to you and give you assignments to do Bible study. It is not that at all. What it is, this program is science-based. So we are going to ask real questions and we are going to delve deep into what happened to you, why did it happen to you, and then you're going to reach a place of acceptance of this is what happened to me, this is reality, this is what happened. And with that comes a place where you can find acceptance, because that is where your healing is starting. And this is what is going to open up your eyes to new possibilities This is where you are going to wake up in the morning with joy in your heart, and I mean real joy and real peace, and actually getting excited about your life again, and to start to explore these possibilities, because we are possibility. Our lives are endless with possibilities and with excitement and things that's going to happen to you in a good way. Because what is going to happen is you're going to end up finding out what your calling is. And that is the word, it is calling you. It is calling you. And we need to get still enough to listen to the voice of God, because there is a calling on your life. There is a purpose for you, and only you can fulfill that purpose. And do you know why you will experience that deep joy inside of you? Because the moments that you walk in your calling, it takes no effort from you, no effort at all, because it's been given to you. But with that is there comes a responsibility for you and I to filter out through all the stuff that we don't need anymore, and to get rid of this victim mentality, because a lot of us are stuck in this victimhood, this victim mentality. This happened to me. I'm walking around with resentment. I cannot forgive. I cannot get over what happened to me. And that is what is keeping us stuck. You will not grow when you are stuck in this victim mentality, but we do have a responsibility. And with that comes a choice. So you have a choice. And sadly, and to be brutally honest, a lot of people is actually choosing to stay in their comfort zone, but it's also, it's not necessarily a comfort zone as to, it's a familiar zone, because it is more familiar to me. The uncomfort is more familiar to me than to actually step up and step out of this. But on the other side, what lies there? Freedom, true freedom. So if you're ready for change, if you are tired of feeling numb all the time and not good enough, and if you're tired of chasing after things the whole time, not reaching anything, just being exhausted all the time, this program is for you. If I can do it, then you can do it.